The government has officially entered a partial shutdown, and right now, Democrats and Republicans are pointing fingers at one another for who's responsible for this. And the government shutdown didn't exactly come out of nowhere. It was the result of a political standoff over the budget, spending, and priorities. Here's what led to all of it. Lawmakers hadn't agreed on the full budget for fiscal year 2026, so they were relying on short-term fixes called continuous resolutions. But those temporary measures unfortunately ran out on September 30th, 2025, and no new deal was in place. There were deep divides between the parties, especially around how much to spend and what policies to include. Democrats wanted to keep things like health insurance subsidies from the Affordable Care Act and were strongly against any cuts to Medicaid. They pushed to extend those subsidies to avoid premium hikes for around 22 million low-income Americans. Republicans, on the other hand, claimed that the subsidies would benefit undocumented immigrants. They pushed for deeper spending cuts and wanted to claw back money from areas like foreign aid through recessions, which is a way to cancel previously approved funding. The Trump administration leaned heavily on recessions, trying to pull back funds that had already been approved by Congress. So that didn't sit well with Democrats, who worried that even if they struck a deal, it could later be undermined. Now, even when the House managed to pass a temporary funding plan, it often hit a wall in the Senate. Why? Because getting anything through there requires 60 votes. And with Republicans split and Democrats withholding support, the numbers just weren't there. This is where the blame game comes in.
So now 2 times, Republicans have failed to get enough votes to avoid a shutdown. They've got to sit down and negotiate with Democrats to come to a bill that both parties can support.
Rather than work with President Trump and Republicans to get this job done, as our party has done repeatedly in the same situation over the years, Democrats want to play political games with the lives and the livelihoods of Americans.
And former Vice President Kamala Harris even jumped in, saying, quote, "President Trump and congressional Republicans just shut down the government because they refused to stop your healthcare costs from rising. Let me be clear. Republicans are in charge of the White House, House, and Senate. This is their shutdown." California Governor Gavin Newsom wrote, "Donald Trump just shut down the government." Republicans have named this a Schumer shutdown because Schumer has said that if Republicans won't meet healthcare demands, he's prepared to risk a shutdown. Representative Tim Scott said, "I voted yes to keep the government open and working for the American family people. Sadly, Democrats chose a Schumer shutdown, putting Americans last." White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said Democrats are shutting down the federal government because President Trump won't force taxpayers to pay for free health care for illegal aliens. Just think about that. Democrat elected representatives are pushing their own constituents to fight for illegals. Deranged. Now, as a result of this shutdown, about 800,000 federal workers are now furloughed, and non-essential services like national parks and Smithsonian museums are closed. Essential services are still running, but workers aren't being paid. Now, it's unknown how long this shutdown will last, and Speaker Mike Johnson said the House is expected to return next week, and the Senate is continuing its debate about the continuing resolution. So be sure to follow us on all of our socials, the National Desk, for the latest updates.